when you think about it, Beyblades are basically competitive, customizable fidget spinners. And I guess some people prefer to make their competitive fidget spinner look nice, and others prefer to make them more powerful. Well, today we'll be talking about the latter and going over the best Beyblade combo in every season of Beyblade Burst. I don't know why I was talking about fidget spinners. That has nothing to do with the video. But anyway, we're going to be talking about single layers, the dual layers, evolution, turbo, rise, surge, and quad drive. If you're into creating the best Beyblade combination possible, you're not going to want to miss this video. But before we start, I think it's time for some Beyblade trivia. On screen, we have 3 different stock combo Beyblades, and your job is to guess which Beyblade has won the most real-life WBO tournaments with the parts it came with straight out of the box. If you win, I'll give you a virtual high five. There you go. I'll give you another virtual high five, I guess. I just gave you one. But if you lose, you'll have to subscribe to LeftBurst for your weekly dose of Beyblade content. Alright, so is it Spriggan Requiem, Zero Zeta, Nightmare Longinus Destroy, or Archer Hercules 13 Eternal? I'll give you guys 3 seconds to answer. 3, 2, 1, and the answer is Archer Hercules with 3 wins, which 3 wins doesn't really sound like much, but imagine spending all night crafting the perfect Beyblade combo for a tournament, and some kid just shows up with an uncustomized Archer Hercules he bought yesterday and wins the whole thing. Like, it's not that much, but it's surprising that it happened 3 times. Anyway, for anyone interested in the other Beyblades, Stock, Nightmare Longinus, and Spriggan Requiem have won 2 WBO tournaments each. So, if you got it right, here's your virtual high five. Good job. But if you got it wrong, well, welcome to the coolest Beyblade channel on YouTube. Totally. Alright, anyway, let's stop with the cringe and let's get started with this list. First off, we have the original series of Beyblades, or I guess Burst Beyblades, the single layers. Of course, because these were the first Burst Beyblades to be created, their parts are quite rudimentary. Like, the Excel driver is literally just a flat plastic tip, and the Survive driver is just a plastic point. I remember when we got Extreme and it had rubber, that was crazy. That was like, oh my god, a driver that's not plastic. Anyway, these Beyblades are just extremely basic and have no outlandish gimmicks. So that begs the question, what is the best combo out of the first series of Beyblade Burst? And the answer is Odin Heavy Defense. This thing, guys, was so good that it had to be banned from WBO tournaments. I think it was the first Beyblade layer ever to be banned, at least for Burst. Anyway, the Odin layer, although it was made to be an attack layer, was so round it provided the Beyblade with uncontested defense and stamina. The heavy disc that came on the best combo was the heaviest disc by far, as you could probably tell by the name, and the defense driver, while it's nothing amazing, the other drivers at the time weren't really that great either. So it was just a consistent good driver with fairly good stamina, and at the time, that's all a good combo really needed. There was no left spin Beyblades that stole spin. There were no crazy Beyblades with extreme rubber contact points that could launch you across the stadium. The best single layer Beyblade was just the Beyblade that could spin the longest. Next up, we have my favorite series of Beyblades, the Duel Layers. I just think their designs were so sleek. Like, look at Storm Spriggan. He's so clean. He's a clean lad. Anyway, when most people think of a good dual layer, one of the first Beyblades that comes to mind is, of course, Lost Longinus. And while Lost Longinus is good, it is by no means the best dual layer. That title goes to the combo Dark Death Scyther Gravity Orbit. This combo is basically just an upgraded version of the best single layer combo, Odin Heavy Defense. It's Odin Heavy Defense on steroids. Dark Death Scyther was rounder and had more burst resistance than Odin. The Orbit Driver gave the Beyblade much more defense and stamina due to its free spinning ball, and the Gravity Disc, Well, actually that one wasn't really that much better than Heavy, but it looks cool, so that's a plus. Anyway, just like Odin, it was a consistent stamina defense hybrid Beyblade that could outspin almost every other Beyblade in the scene. It was also banned, just like Odin, because it was just so good. I mean, that's a pretty common trait on this list. A lot of these Beyblades are gonna get banned because they're the best combo in the game, and usually they're the best combo by far. Anyway, let's move on to the next series. On to most people's favorite season. Next up, we have the Evolution series. And of course, the best Beyblade combo in this series involves the insanely overpowered Beyblade Spriggan Requiem. This thing was a monster in the anime and a monster in real life. I mean, how could this combo not involve this Beyblade layer? It has everything. It has rubber, metal, good teeth, flippin' dual rotation, not to mention its round shape, which gave it quite a lot of stamina. Now, at this time, spin stealing became a huge part of the competitive meta. It was so easy and just extremely consistent. All you needed to do was weak launch your Beyblade, spin steal, and if you had more life after death than your opponent, you would basically win every battle. It was extremely boring, but you know, play lame, win game, and that's what the best combo in the game at the time did. Spriggan Requiem, zero bump bearing. Of course, the Spriggan Requiem layer had rubber and allowed you to spin steal from either left or right spin Beyblades, which was extremely powerful. It was like one of the only Beyblades that could do that. I guess the other dual spin Beyblade was Legend Spriggan, but that guy was like way too jagged and didn't have rubber, and it was really bad at spin stealing. I'm rambling. Let's go back to the combo. Next up, the disc on this combo was zero bump, and that was just the heaviest disc at the time. And the driver was bearing, and bearing was the driver with the most life after death. Again, as most people know, bearing has a weaker spring, so it does tend to burst more often than other Beyblades, but on Spriggan Requiem, that really wasn't a problem. This combo was so good that I still remember at our first Beyblade tournament, Jake lost to this tiny 5-year-old girl using this exact combo, and we still talk about it to this day because it was so funny. She was just so small, and she like weak launched her Beyblade with like a ripcord launcher, and it barely spun, but it stole spin so well. And that's just how easy and powerful this Beyblade was. It was just such an easy Beyblade, and it would win every battle. Alright, enough talking about Spriggan Requiem. On to the next series. The next series of Beyblades is, of course, the series that made every Beyblade longinus, the Turbo series, also known as the Cho-Z series. This series had some really good Beyblade releases, such as Archer Hercules, which we talked about earlier in this video. Archer Hercules, again, it won 3 tournaments with just its stock combo alone. It just has such good stamina. But although Archer Hercules was extremely good, I actually think the best Beyblade combo of this era has to be Perfect Phoenix 00 Cross Extend Plus. Wow, these Beyblade names are getting crazy. Anyway, this Beyblade was just an absolute unit. The Perfect Phoenix layer was just extremely heavy and made the Beyblade a tank in battle. The 00 cross disc mixed with the Extend Plus driver also allowed the Beyblade to have even better life after death than bearing, which is insane. So in the same spin matchup, you would destroy your opponent's Beyblade because you were double its weight, and in the opposite spin matchup, you would steal spin and win at life after death. Also, if you needed to, Extend Plus had like 2 other modes to use if you're like in a real bind. Overall, this Beyblade was just so good, and it was even able to compete with the next generation of top-tier Rise Beyblade combos. Alright, speaking of Rise, let's talk about the best Rise combo. The Rise season kind of marks the end of stamina and defense hybrid Beyblades dominating the meta. In Rise, also known as the GT series, we got introduced to some top-tier attack-type Beyblade layers, such as Judgment Joker and Zwei Longinus. And although we still have some pretty solid stamina defense Beyblade layers like Lord Spriggan, I think the best combo to come out of Rise has to be Judgment Diabolos Blitz Extreme Dash. The Judgment Layer just had some crazy rubber contact points that would either burst any Beyblade in its path or send them flying across the stadium. Mix that with the heavy blitz disc and the speed of the Extreme Dash driver, this Beyblade was a monster to deal with in the stadium. Even weak launch spin stealing Beyblade combos would get knocked around by this Beyblade. Not only that, the Dash driver and Judgment's rubber burst stoppers gave this Beyblade extraordinary burst resistance. This was the first time attack types have really had a prevalent place in the meta, and boy, did they make an impact. Next up, we're on to the Sparking / Surge series. This Beyblade series was dominated by Rage Longinus, so of course the best Beyblade combo is going to include parts from that powerful metal dragon. I believe the best Beyblade combo to come out of Surge has to be Rage Helios 2 Drift 3A. This Beyblade has the best of both worlds. It's Hannah Montana, guys. It has an extremely aggressive ring and chassis combination of Rage and 3A with the extremely good life after death driver, Drift. And Drift is by no means a passive driver. It can move pretty aggressively, so the Beyblade had a lot to work with. It hit hard, and if it couldn't burst the opponent or knock them out at the beginning, it would just beat them at life after death. It combined the attack power of the best Rise Beyblade combo with the power of Spin Steel, seen in the best Evolution and Turbo Beyblade combos. This thing, again, it's Hannah Montana. It has the best of both worlds. What's not to love? Alright, enough talking about Hannah Montana. Let's move on to our final Beyblade season, Beyblade Burst Dynamite, also known as Quad Drive. Since Beyblade Burst BU hasn't ended, I'm not going to include it in this video. Now, can we get a drum roll for the latest best Beyblade combo, please? Riley, this is your cue for the drum roll. Okay, thank you. Alright. And the best Dynamite combo, at least in my opinion, is Dynamite F-Gear Perseus Tapered Bearing Dash. And oh my goodness, these Beyblade names have gotten so long. Anyway, this one's good for a pretty simple reason. It is just the heaviest Beyblade layer possible, combined with the best life after death driver and disc. I was honestly hoping for something more exciting, but what can you do? Play lame, win game. Anyway, I guess that's the end of the video. Oh, before we end off the video, I just want to say that this whole list was kind of my opinion. There are just so many good Beyblade combos and so many different Beyblade combos that you can make that it's almost impossible to rank one as the best. So if you guys disagree with the combos I put on this list, just tell me in the comment section below. Again, I don't think my list is completely right. I probably overlooked some combos. So if you guys can inform me on what you guys think is the best, that would be pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, see you guys later. Have a nice day. Hopefully we can do more discussion videos like these. I really enjoy them. Anyway, subscribe if you haven't. Really appreciated. LeftBurst out.